First, let me thank you, Invincible. Your war cost so many lives. I know you think that's a tragedy, but you're wrong. Our planet is overburdened and dying. We're choking on our own filth, stupidly breeding like rabbits as we stumble towards extinction. But you gave us what no one else could. A chance at a better future. Fewer mouths to feed.
Go to hell.
If only you stopped there.
Hello guys, Sharp came back once again, and this is my Invincible Season 4, I guess you could say mid-season recap or review of the overall thing. It is just, so far, the season's been alright. The first 3 episodes started off pretty strong, pretty decent. Nice way to bring people back into the fray. Release 3 episodes back to back. I have, what, 5 weeks of weekly episodes, but it's only with the recent episode 4, in my opinion, was trash. There was nothing gained from this episode, no interesting lore, and it just seemed like mostly a waste of time. Because with the whole devil plot and helping out the devil regain his power, there's no there's nothing that's gonna come from this. Like, I think the main lava villain could team up with Dr. Seismic in the future in the comic books, if I do recall. I think it's gonna happen. Outside of that, we could have it just like he got jumped by some different Hell Lords, different 9 realms of hell, or just like under his leadership, you know what to expect, but under this new leadership, it's causing all type of demons to invade. Like, there's nothing interesting about this plot. It's boring. It's boring. It doesn't add anything new. The devil subplot in Damien Darkblood, which is supposed to be a gag character, it adds nothing. This does nothing to his character. Still boring. I guess I forgot he talks like Master Yoda. And these are like Mark shows up and just one-shot everything, or just talking the whole conversation. Get multiple spills about something that's already done happened. It's just Damien Darkblood and his siblings and the rest of them is just like, this is it? This is all you got to go against this one character? And Mark one-shot at this bum like one-shot at him. Really? And that's it. A whole 40-minute episode dealing with a bunch of bums, a garbage devil character, and a lava main villain that's just, man, that might show back later on, team up with Dark Seismic. Really? Really? And the reason why this agitates me so bad, because Robert Kirkman says he'll hope for Invincible to get to 10 seasons. How? Like, I'll put it like this. You do realize the real reason why this episode exists, right? For those who don't know, the Invisible War is not long. For anybody who read the Invisible comics, the Invisible War was over one singular issue. So everything else you saw was mostly filler inside, what, Season 3, Episode 7. So most of that was filler in the Invisible War itself. So let me break it down to you. Conquest showed up with his group, right? And Mark fights Conquest again, and he's out of battle for the next 3 months. 3 months, the Coalition of Planets is by themselves trying to fight the Future Knights. And by the time Omni-Man and the rest of the Grayson family comes back into the fray, like, they're already invading the head Coalition planet. The Future Knights are already invading them. And then the next issue is the battle for Planet Viltrum. Like, the fight is like over like 2 to 3 issues. The only reason we got this episode is because Kirkman needed something to save time. And somebody said they teased this in the previous season. The one, Season 4 was already greenlit before Season 3 ended. And it's just like, the episode added nothing. It felt like filler. And this is the type of filler I gotta deal with to get like up to 10 seasons. I'll pass. That'll be a hard pass. Hard pass. I'd rather just go up to Season 8 and end it there. Instead of having garbage filler like this. Are you serious? I gotta be reduced to this garbage? Main villain, trash. The people we helping out, trash. Damien Darkblood, trash. And this goes into a bigger problem. So let's get the other stuff out of the way. Episode 1 was a decent episode, reintroduction. The 6 weeks plot and the whole Mark gotta kill him. I'm 50-50 on it. I think the comic did it better where Mark had no other choice, and that showed the resolve that if he had a choice, the man gotta die. But in the show, they try to make it as well. Maybe Mark could have waited. It takes away like Mark's willingness to get the job done. And that's the thing. The whole Mark and Caesar relationship into the future, they do eventually start to see their flaws with each other, and start to accept the future partnership between each other. Cecil isn't always right, and Mark isn't always right. So in this case, instead of Mark just killing him to get the job done, it becomes, well, Mark, you would have just waited 2 seconds. The dude could have lived. And they keep trying to reinterview this theme. They keep trying to push this season one that Mark is becoming like Omni-Man. Mark is becoming like Omni-Man. What does that even mean? Omni-Man spent 20 plus years just doing nothing. And the only time he nutted up was what? Episode, I think, 1? In like episodes 7 to 8. Or the end of 7 and 8. Outside of that, it's just Mark hasn't killed any innocent people. He hasn't massacred any innocent people. And he hasn't just honestly killed anybody innocent either. Well, because he threatened he's becoming Omni-Man when he's done nothing like Omni-Man. He's not innocently killing his own former allies. He's not going around trying to force his battle into highly crowded areas that massacre innocent people. He hasn't shoved nobody through a train. So like, where's this whole Mark Omni-Man? Well, the themes don't matter if you're butchering character development. If it makes the story worse, then what's the point of a theme if it butchers everything? And this is why you shouldn't let people who go to college should learn how to write. Some people got the talent, others don't. It is what it is. All those rules and parameters were put there for people who don't know what they're doing or got subpar talent. That's it. That's it. That's all it is. All these rules and parameters, when your favorite director do it, it's the best thing in the world. They're breaking out of the norm. They're doing something new. Let somebody independent try that same thing. Well, it was great they doing something new and bizarre, but I would have preferred they stay with the traditional. So the world is the way it is because they're trying to appeal to people like you. Yeah. Okay. So that's why I never liked the whole underlying thing. It goes into a big point, right? Now Mark is upset. He's mad. He's rambunctious. I need to kill my villains. I gotta put people down permanently. Boss, didn't you believe you killed Angstrom Levy? You beat Angstrom Levy into a puddle. You believed you killed him. It's not a subject of if. You believed you killed him. You wasn't halfway beat up. You wasn't severely damaged like he was at Conquest. You believe you saw his dead body that was not moving at the time. So would this be a case, well, if you would have just knocked out Angstrom Levy and then Robot and then would have showed up to help and just took Angstrom Levy to jail, wouldn't he be less mad at you than you potentially attempting to kill him? Then he comes back with a bunch of multiverse variants of you to wipe out your own planet. And we're not even talking about discussing the whole where I refuse to save the world because Adam Eve is hurt. Pause. Wait a minute. You're not. If you're the, well, it's not a question of if you're the strongest hero on the planet. It's a fact, Mark, that you're the strongest man on the planet. And unlike Superman 2025, where the Justice Game could handle it in a dimensional L, because when God Gardner hit that imp with that baseball bat, it died. The rest of the superheroes getting massacred by the Invisibles. If they didn't turn on Angstrom Levy, they would have wiped out the planet. Turn on Angstrom Levy, and Mark would have showed up. Mark would have got jumped and beaten to death. It's not a subject of if. That is a fact. For 3 days, Mark. For 3 days. And you over here crying next to Adam Eve. Like, what? I've never seen something so selfish in my life. It is what it is. There's that. I really don't like this overall thing of turning to Omni-Man when he beat somebody to death like he was Omni-Man and it made things worse. Okay. Think that makes sense? Okay. So, it goes in episode 2, Alan and Omni-Man. We get some great stuff, introduced to the Ratnars, and just, they kind of did, now, the whole joke in the comic book was, every time they went to go find another one of Nolan's potential anti-Viltrumite weapons or allies, every time they went back to the spaceship, Alan's, rearranging his girlfriend's spine. In this case, they only did it once, I believe, maybe twice. Well, it didn't carry the same way, but, as it did. But overall, solid episode. Some nice animation, some nice ideas, things like that. But episode 3 with the return of the Flaxons again, and the Titan the Order plot. I don't know what they're gonna do with the whole Titan the Order, because the Order is not ran by that group. Slight spoilers: there is an actual leader of the Order that has not showed up in the show, and the Order is mainly a Guardians of the Globe type villain, and not a Mark villain. Now some might say why? Because anytime Mark is on the team, things get solved quite easily. Which goes into another big problem I have with the show overall. The Guardians of the Globe and the other superheroes. Most of them are trash. Most of them are garbage. Most of them without Mark. Like, the only person comparable to Mark on the Guardians of the Globe is Bulletproof. But they don't let Bulletproof do anything. Black Samson has powers. But in the TV show, they haven't shown him showing off these powers, because in the comic book, he was the one who helped take out Inipitus and push him back into the dimension. In the show, Black who? Samson what? So we have a team that's trash, whose only time we seen anything Red Russian again could do was against the Marler twins, two individuals that Oliver pretty much two-shotted by himself. And it was a threat for the team, a subpar team to the Guardians of the Galaxy. You could have come up with a new villain for him. You could have done anything, just have the White House be in actual danger. Just think about it. Think about how quickly they solved that Marler twin situation. Really, Robert, Blue Bum. Now I think about the Marler twins. Besides from helping out other people, they don't do anything besides from get beat up and whooped on. That the whole career is getting whooped on. The Guardians of the Globe don't do nothing. Omni-Man's trash. Duplicate trash. Half of the team is trash. Technically, Rex Explode is trash because the only thing he does is empower objects to explode. He's a glorified Jubilee from X-Men on steroids. Trash. Monster Girl got some decent strengths until she go against somebody out of her league, which is most of the time. So besides from Bulletproof, who is similar to Mark, but barely get any 1v1 time against anybody, the Guardians of the Globe as a group are a bunch of clowns. The Immortal, they can't give the Immortal one decent fight to save his life. Why is he on this team? He doesn't do anything. He doesn't. Because anytime he's on screen, the team is being saved by Mark. Adam Eve was on the team, but well, it's 50-50 whether she's going to use her powers the right way or not. Blah. Now, if there was some type of plot point to say that Adam Eve is very powerful, but she's like street smart, but she's not, like, she can't functionally lose her powers in a effective way to help out the team and the team members. That would be one thing, right? She's not dumb, but she's not creatively gifted to use her powers appropriately, right? That would be an interesting element, right? No, she's not dumb. She's pretty smart, in some ways smarter than Mark, and she's just on the team, just there. Great. A team full of dummies, idiots, and incompetents. And there's no difference between the Immortal and Brit, because anytime they're on the team, Mark is saving the day. So what difference does it matter who leads this group? Why is it Invincible trying to lead this group? Well, because they work for Caesar. Not anymore. Well, the team's not. I can't take this seriously when it's just like there's certain elements of the world building, like the Invisible War case, right? Number one, the original comic version was already suspect at best. Now some might say why. It took characters that wasn't even a part of Invisible to help save the day. Savage Dragon is not walking down the street. Spawn is not as in this universe. There was just a bunch of glorified MC level cameos to help deal with the Invisible War because there was no superheroes in the Invisible War to help deal with it. You have to break canon. Go be a part of it. That's the thing, right? When you introduce Spawn and all these other characters, you gotta wonder, when Conquest showed up, where were these guys? Where were Savage Dragon and team? So you could help out against these variants, but you can't help out to take on the strongest super across the planet. So the Invisible War itself is already suspect. It only lasted one issue. It's not some type of glorious thing. It's just really not. But I remember more for Conquest showing up than anything significant happening in the battle itself. Because remember, I got introduced to this by a YouTube channel called Danny Mall. He's still around. And Robert Kirkman chose to strike down his videos. 20 videos covering each volume. Struck it down and said the lawyer team and so on and so on want Robert and them to shut it down. But when everybody else spoils the story, Robert, their videos can stay up. It's spoiling everything, showing off everything. So his videos gotta get taken down. Because I guess because it came out before the TV show. But all these other videos spoiling or doing all the other stuff. What, you're not gonna send your loyal teams after them, Robert? Robert, make it make sense, Robert. How you gonna make 10 seasons out of this, Kirkman? Huh? So there's certain elements and character plot points don't make any sense. Doesn't add up. A lot of characters that are there that exist to just cause I can't take a world seriously when it becomes the Mark TV show, and then when it's not about the Mark TV show, it's just it is what it is. It's called Invisible. It is what it is. Now, some might say, why would we be mad that something called Invisible is focusing on Mark? It's not the fact that it's focusing on Mark. It's the fact that nothing else happens without Mark. Nothing. Would anybody even catch on to the Sinclair's plans if Mark wasn't there? Would anybody be able to beat the Sequits if Mark wasn't there? Would anybody be able to beat the Flaxons if Omni-Man or Mark wasn't there? So Cecil was talking about having this whole team, in which arguably you need at least 5 Reanimen on the Guardians of the Globe team. They putting in more work against the variants than your own superheroes are. Make that make sense. So as I was saying, Invisible as a series is not long, quite contained. As a story itself is good, right? It's alright. But trying to extend it to 10 seasons, and we're going to get episodes like season 4, episode 4, garbage. I don't want to see that. Keep it 8 seasons, Robert. Unless you come up with something good with the Order and tighten that whole side plot with Mr. LeWoo. Like, I don't want to see the Flaxen again, even though they're going to show back up, because we still got to solve the whole Monster Girl and Robot plot. If I got to see the Sequits again, the Sequits are done, but my gosh, you brought them back the same way 3 darn times. And it's never interesting. At least when I pick up Marvel or DC and they bring in a Sabretooth or Omega Red or Sinestro, at least the reason why like they disappear for like 3 years, cause they have like a really big moment that changes something, and then it really get like things calm down back to normal, or just they go straight to jail, right? They can't really have this whole they constantly being out there all the time just cause there's just too many superheroes. Imagine being someone like. Imagine being the Joker, right? And there was a crossover and the Hulk shows up. It's not going to be a happy day. Imagine being the Joker and the Flash pull up the Gotham. It's not going to be a happy time. So that's why Batman say Gotham's off limit. That's his own thing. So in this case, they keep bringing back the Sequits and these other guys, but there's nothing interesting about them. Nothing. Firstly, because they aged. Then you have to break the device because they aged. And now the device is in the portal because they age. It's just like they're not gonna bring in like new type of weaponry. No, nothing. Just the same thing, really. Second was just the same thing. Just like we could have had like a whole Secret Wars scroll type invasion with the Sequits, or like taking over positions in the government and they really pushing it. And then we would have had the ending reveal of who's the main Sequit controlling these guys. And they have this endless army on the sewers. And then it would have been this surprise that we never even saw it coming, right? Didn't happen. Didn't happen. Did not happen at all. So overall, with a series overall view, I don't know if I'm a fan of Invisible or not. I remember watching it 2021. First episode came out, thought it was alright. And it's just like, you had a few episode highlights, a few decent things. But I already knew when they changed Omni-Man from the comics, and they started making him be a man-child, first change I didn't like is the Guardians of the Globe. The Guardians of the Globe is trash, alright? There's no reason a Viltrumite should ever struggle with any member from the Guardians of the Globe. Because Omni-Man himself is way faster than Red Rush. Especially with the comic books. So it's just, it should have been an easy 1v1. But let's say you're not going to do that, right? They easily could have introduced a plot line. Maybe this Omni-Man was a clone. Like, if Omni-Man is going against different dimensions, monsters, right? Maybe this is an android or a clone. Maybe this is not him. They never play around with the aspect that maybe Nolan is not who he is. You could play this like some classic comic book tropes. It could be an android or a clone or from a different dimension. No, it's actually him. And he's spazzing out like a man-child because he can't handle his emotions as a grown man, even though Viltrumite's not supposed to be having emotions like that. You don't see Conquest or Nissa flip-flopping and acting like this, General Craig or Lucan. Somehow Omni-Man, he's just, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? can't even keep your identity around your wife. What's wrong with this guy? He's supposed to be hundreds and thousands of years old. Man, child. It bears. Is what it is. So I thought season 1 was alright, right? Season 2 is always going to be like a lukewarm season because of the content. But then they change animation quality, and then it's just like on-demand season 1 to season 2. How do you redeem that character compared to the comic books? Somebody said, what do you mean? In the comic books, yeah, on-demand punch Mark into like a subway, but he didn't hold and killed a few people, but he didn't hold Mark up and force his head through an entire like back-to-back carts of trains in a subway, killing potentially hundreds of people, depending on how packed the subway is and how many and what city is in it, right? He didn't do that. In the comic books, he maybe killed like 25 people due to collateral damage, right? Man of Steel, right? In the in the show, there's no mistaking about it. He kills a lot more people, and some of that stuff is on camera. How do you redeem this character? Do some stuff later on. How do you bring him back to Earth? How does Robert how does it gonna work, Robert, make it make sense, Robert. It is what it is. What and this shows up, and then we have some people questioning. Well, does the Viltrumites help out the planets they take over? I say it's 50-50. It's questionable. They obviously do have some races as slaves, but then we got those guys who's working for them in the prison, who's going to execute Nolan. Are those guys slaves? Are those guys willingly working for him? And if they are willingly working for him, how do certain planets become slave planets and other planets just become like cooperative with the Viltrumites? No one knows. No one knows. No one knows at all. And I already spoken the whole bad culture thing and how the Viltrumites can improve as a group, so I'm not gonna get into that. You can watch the Scourge Rise videos for that, but it's just I don't know, there's a lot of things, a lot of plot points that I like. I hate Pyreplex because Pyreplex is an idiot. Really is dumb. The whole antithesis the character, right? Now, imagine if a fight with Batman or Superman, an innocent person got injured, and they blame Superman for it. Well, didn't we have this storyline happen with Superman versus the Elite, where Superman wouldn't kill the Atomic Skull, and the Atomic Skull went out there killing people? And how, didn't we have this already? But they played onto that, right? But Pyreplex is an idiot. His plan is dumb. It's one thing. The only thing you can prove that he was fighting his dad, on which there's some collateral damage. It's not justified, but it's unfortunate. Then it goes into, right, I got this concocted plan. I'm gonna have a fake victim, so on and so on. Alright. So what, you gonna lead Mark somewhere else? No, we're gonna fight 15 feet in front of him. So you're upset that some family members died, and you're gonna put your own family at risk again, and then you end up killing them. And then that happens, and just like that idiot Angel Levy, because the Marler twins told you not to take off the helmet, you took off the helmet. After you told the Marler twins to fight Mark instead of talking to him. Say they were Pyreplex, you could have took him up into the air and fried him. You could have done anything. You did it 15 minutes away, 15 feet away from your own people. But I'm supposed to feel bad for dummy number 1 and dummy number 2? At least in the comic book, Angel Levy, he's kind of crazy because he got all those memories and all that brain power in him. But Pyreplex, even though he realized his ways, another dummy, another idiot. Indifference towards Oliver, with some early season 3 stuff. Get the black suit. Let me get the blue and black suit. Oh yeah, one final thing. They're trying to make Conquest some sympathetic guy. Let's cut that out. Conquest enjoys his job. He's a man on a mission, and he take his ass home. All right. But they keep trying to push this whole I'm so lonely. I got no friends and lonely. Come on, let's stop. That one dialogue is one thing. Now we got an issue of Battle Beast where he's living on a planet by himself. And some might say, why would I question this, right? You don't understand how old Conquest is. Conquest was around with the Viltrumite Purge. Meaning, he was probably alive when Emperor Argue was still around, before the Viltrumite Purge. Is that the case? How was he living back then? Because there's no way billions of Viltrumites are needed to conquer the entire universe. Especially when they usually send one to the planet like they're a Super Saiyan. So if that's the case, then Like Saiyans from Dragon Ball. Wouldn't that just mean most of the Viltrumites are on the planet? So it's just like, why would he say, I don't even get a real name? They call me Conquest when you're not bred like Thrag. Thrag is 10 times stronger than you, bigger than you, and roughly, I think, a few thousand years younger than you. So what is whole lonely thing coming from? And then like in the show it makes it worse when he's just like on your knee, was shaking in his boots. This man was shook. He was scared to step in front of. He was scared to step in front of Thrag. He was not trying to die. Like Conquest liked to fight, but he's not on suicide watch. Now the show Conquest is all sad and please end me, end me. Comic book, and the reason why it's important, because it shows how big of a gap it is between a person like Thrag and like a head conqueror like Conquest. The fact that the person who was beating Mark and saying that it's a start, like we're just getting warmed up. You know, let's see how damage you could do to me. The fact that he would not play them games with Thrag just show what type of specimen Thrag is in the show. Well, you die when I want you to die, Conquest. You're still more work. It's not. It doesn't carry the same weight. It doesn't. Thrag is a character in the comic book. From that first introduction, the way he acts, the way he behaves, he's a very specific, very articulately designed character. And they're turning into, well, you know, Conquest is this loner, he's like an animal, and so on and so on. Then what was he doing before Thrag came to power? Thrag was voted in by a Viltrumite council, which led to the purge. Whether before or after he was elected. If that's the case, then what was Conquest doing under Emperor Argyle? Because he was doing the same thing that everybody else is. So why if this is a recent trend, or just, they will be talking about certain times a person who work on something should not double check over their work like this, because sometimes you are your own harshest critic, and he will see a problem with something that wasn't even a problem to begin with. It was alright what it is. Conquest, a man who loved his job, was good enough. Now he's Mr. Lonely Man. Now he on planet living by himself. What was he doing before Thrag? Crickets, because we don't know, we don't need to know, no questioning. So why explain and extend certain things but not other things? Well, we're going to get a whole sad Conquest backstory doing the Conquest Mark fight part 2? Huh? That's what's going to happen? Huh? Huh? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if I call myself a fan of Invincible. I think it's alright. I think it's a decent series. I prefer the comic books, because the comic book is just purely what it is. Whether you like it or not, it's like a certain purity where you don't gotta pass over the 15 people and have them microanalyze every single decision that you made. Same thing with Debbie. There's no way Debbie can get back with Nolan. That is an impossibility. And then you got Debbie in this episode taken away by children. He just, ma'am, the planet is on the line. Shut up. I'm dead. You could have this conversation with how you feel about Nolan after we deal with the Viltrumites. I'm not gonna have you being all upset because Nolan needs your son to go save the planet, and you suspect of how you feel about Nolan. Shut up. Shut your mouth, man. What? Like, are you out of your mind? Like, who wrote that in the script to be like, if they would have did this afterwards, maybe this is a passing comment before Mark leaves, but he's just, the Viltrumites have showed up to the planet like 3 times and caused mass destruction, and this is a chance to stop it, and you over here questioning, like, wait, what? There should be no hesitation. Aside from that, Eve is knocked up. Aside from that, let's go. We can end this right here, right now. Yeah, let's do it, son. And then we can deal with the fallout of Nolan and action. It is what it is, man. Am I a fan of Invincible? I don't know. I can't really say. There's some things I like, other things I don't like. Some plot lines and stories I like, others I don't like. I don't know, man. I don't know, cause usually I consider myself like to be like a real fan when I draw some fan art or something. In this case, not technically I have. I drew like the emperors of Viltrum once on a sheet of paper. So technically, I don't know, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But I like what I like and I like what I don't like. I think the series are alright overall. There's some story changes and quote unquote themes just don't make any sense. Like, I'm not an Amber hater. I thought Amber as a character had a reason to not like what Mark is doing, because we don't know when Amber figured out that Mark was a superhero. But even then, why even pretend and just outright leave? Invincible shows up and it just kind of just act like nothing happened. It's just imagine you had a girlfriend in real life, and the Hulk shows up fighting Rhino, and you just vanish. You don't lead her to safety. You know, just skedaddle, just vanish, just disappear, just get out of there. And it's just what she's supposed to watch you come back and be like, well, we're still best of buddies, you're still friend. And that's why a flawed character is not bad writing. That's just a flawed character. Bad writing is objectively bad. This is this is what I mean. But a lot of people don't understand writing or don't know what they're doing. A flawed character is not bad writing. Bad writing is just bad writing. If a character is an idiot, slow, dumb, pretentious, narcissist, or selfish, those are just character flaws. That's not bad writing if it falls within the character and their personal decisions and how they live. This is what I mean. Most people don't know what they're doing and should just shut their mouth. Amber's not a bad character, a bad writing. She's just a flawed character. If you think she's dumb for not accepting Mark Vanish, what's another case, right? If Mark cared about the relationship so much, as soon as she would have broke up with him. He would have told her the truth. You don't just show up later on, slap on the invisible suit and be, I'm a superhero. So you say it now because I broke up with you? That doesn't excuse what you did before. That doesn't excuse anything. You could have been told me about this. And you want to say Amber's pretentious for not taking him back, that's one thing. But you just can't accept somebody just, well, you know, you can't. Then it makes it even worse, right? Season 2 and even Season 1 makes it even worse. Because then, not only is Mark shallow for just thinking, well, I could just reveal the truth and they put a band-aid on everything. Amber is just as shallow and short-headed because the only reason she got back with Mark is because his dad whooped him like a pinata in front of everybody at a quinceañera. So you see your ex-boyfriend get nearly beaten to death and now you're back to a relationship. Nah, ma'am, this is not how this works. Nah, this is not how this works. No, this is the fact that separate and simpleton Mark just. It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. So some of the writing don't make any sense. I don't know if it's like it's too many heads in the kitchen, or is Robert overcorrecting his work for something he sees as a flaw that wasn't a flaw. Like, if there was like an actual thing where Amber is not the most creatively gifted person, so she have a very, not narrow view, but a specific way she can use her power, or decide to use her power, right? Until something like push it to the edge of death and something else unlocks, right? That would be one thing. But the fact that she's fully aware and understands the extent of her powers and her abilities, and she just does nothing, sits there and just does nothing, or could be way more better of a help against a sec where it just does nothing or get control. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't add up. You just. So overall, I think the season's alright. I don't know if I'm going to cover season 4 episode by episode or just make a full video. I'll let you guys decide if you're interested in that. But it's just season 4 mid-season review and the series overview. I think the series is alright. I think the show changes some things unnecessarily to try to overcorrect on what Robert believed was something was wrong, even though it wasn't. But of course, you know what time it is, kids. The new fans show up, and I don't read. You can't read, but how do you read Japanese subtitles? I don't read. If it's on paper, I cannot understand it. If it's moving pictures, I can't. You realize you're a full-grown adult kids, right? Yeah. There is no such thing as a smart person if there's not a dumb one. There's no concept of being tall if there's not someone being short. And there's no context of having humanity unless there's people who don't have it. Life is a funny thing, isn't it? Because if everybody had it, if everybody could understand, then nothing would be the way it is now. But that's my overall thoughts and opinions about it. I was able to give out my gripes and thoughts about it. A lot of things that just could be better, written better. Especially since Robert got more time, more budget. But as I wrap it up with this, Robert Kirkman gonna have to decide what is best for Invincible, because he has no problem with recasting people, because he recast Robot and he recast William. Right, so why are you blowing most of the budget on famous actors for characters that's gonna make a one-episode cameo like that punk Pyreplex or some other bum or no name? That's the thing. If it was just Omni-Man, Mark, and Debbie being Michelle Yeoh, J.K. Simmons, and Stephen Yu. That would make sense, right? And then maybe a Thrag could be played by Lee Pace, or like another like major significant character, right? But you got side characters being played by these famous actors, blowing up the budget for what? Why is Damien Darkblood Clancy Brown? Now at least Clancy Brown also played General Craig. That's one thing. General Craig is great. Damien Darkblood, he's a bum. He doesn't do anything. He's a useless character. And every time when he does piece together things, Cecil already knows about it. So why is he there? To be a bum. To have scenes where Omni-Man may act like a man-child. And he's... I know there's a lot of things, man. Whether Amazon gonna give you more money, or you're gonna have to properly allocate funds. Because this is not a live-action TV show. This is not The Walking Dead. This is animation. They both achieve the same thing, but they're executed two different ways. I'd rather increase the budget with some good name voice actors you can get the job done than to blow all my money on somebody who's going to last for 15 minutes on screen. And I just think, and to prove my point, the Invisible video game. They could even get, they could have get Jeffrey D. Morgans to return his conquest. They couldn't get Seth Rogen to return of Alan the So, so most of the cast are not even reposing their characters in the game because you can't afford the budget, but you're gonna blow Amazon money for the. Once again, Robert. But it's been my thoughts and opinions about Invisible. I had to record this twice. The first time, I can't deny I'm mad because it pretty much forced me to update my PS4 to whatever new update they got, and just to record videos. So I temporarily thought, but my YouTube career might be over. So it's just but it's been my thoughts and opinions. Oh yeah, I'll wrap it up this one last thing. I understand this is a joke. You know, I can't wrap up videos properly. Well, I won't say it's a joke, but it's a funny thing. I say one last thing and it goes on for 15 more minutes. And that is with the Invisible War, right? Like this is not gonna be like a long arc. Not Invisible War, the Viltrumite War. So I told you earlier how long this fight's supposed to last, and unless they're going to add, like remember, we got roughly 2 to 3 hours of TV left. Episode 5 come out this week, right? And we got 4 episodes after that, right? A lot of that's going to be filler. Like I said before, the only reason episode 4 came out now because they got to make the eight episode time window, right? So how much filler they're going to add? Tech Jacket the Woman's not going to add anything. So why not just, change Cecil, change William into a woman, change, many other characters to a woman. Why not? It's not going to change their character. It's not going to hold any significance, right? Why not? Why can't General Craig be a woman? Why can't Anissa be a man and Luke can be a woman? Why not? There's nothing inherently tied to their gender. But only roughly about 2 to 3 issues of roughly 22 pages, right? Which is about 3 weeks worth of manga content, right? It was roughly around that time. Yeah, I'm about to explain to you. Yeah. Matter of fact, that's gonna be another gosh darn video. I'm gonna be, woo. So it's not gonna be that long. I hope they flesh out the woman Tet Jacket. I hope they give us some more stuff with Battle Beast. Cause and the comic book is not that long. So I better see a whole lot of Battle Beast, Thrag, Tet Jacket. Cause all of them are gonna be taken out for quite some time. So a lot of the Coalition guys doing something and trying to fight back against the Viltrumites. Cause the war itself is not long. It's not long. So BWK like got lots of thoughts and opinions. What are your thoughts about Invisible overall? And would you like to see me cover into the future? Peace.